Thus he spake and led the way, and they went with him. So they brought all, and stowed it in the decked ship, according to the word of the dear son of Odysseus. Then Telemachus climbed the ship, and Athene went before him, and behold, she sat her down in the stern, and near her sat Telemachus. And the men loosed the hawsers, and climbed on board themselves, and sat down upon the benches. And great-eyed Athene sent them a favorable gale, a fresh west wind, singing over the wine-dark sea. And Telemachus called unto his company, and bade them lay hands on the tackling. And they hearkened to his call. So they raised the mast of pine tree, and set it in the hole of the cross-plank, and made it fast with forestays, and hauled up the white sails with twisted ropes of oxhide. And the wind filled the belly of the sail, and the dark wave seethed loudly round the stem of the running ship. And she fleeted over the wave, accomplishing her path. Then they all made fast with the swift black ship, and set mixing bowls brimmed with wine, and poured drink offering to the deathless gods that are from everlasting, and in chief to the grey-eyed daughter of Zeus. So all night long and through the dawn the ship cleft her way. Bon voyage! Telemachus and Athene and crew, fare ye well upon ye travels. This is me talking. I know I'm so convincing with my ancient speak at this point. Not a whole lot to comment upon here today. They are just taking their seats amongst this. One obvious thing I just want to pull out here right at the end was that pouring the drink and offering to the gods, especially Athena, was a sort of recognition that the success of their journey depended on the whims of the gods. And so this was a sort of ritual in order to gain them favor. And they especially do this not only just to the gods in general, but to Athena specifically. I don't know that they know that Athena is with them, amongst them, as mentor. But remember, I said something I think in book 1, where I would imagine, I'm trying to put myself in the reality of living in the time of gods, that if there was a god that was taking the disguise of man, you might not intellectually recognize it, consciously recognize it, but there would just be this vibe, this vibration that you would feel in the presence of a god in disguise as a mortal. I think that's how I would, if I was writing the story, if I was coming up with the rules of this, that's kind of what I think would happen. So, I mean, they're offering drink in, honor of her, I think just generally because she is the guardian of heroes of sorts, but maybe they also just have a sense that she might be closer than they even think. I also love that the story, even being ancient as it is, does not skimp on some of the textural details, allowing us to kind of be able to better visualize not just what it physically looks like, but the kind of expression of it. So, like this sentence here, Athena sent them a favorable gale, a fresh west wind, singing over the wine-dark sea. It could have just said, sending them a gale, which pushed the boat out to sea, but it's specifically saying a west wind and giving us the detail of the wine-dark sea. That's very evocative. That's very expressionistic. And even though this is an oral tradition, you can see how that's going to influence later written works. Wine-dark sea. It kind of has this sense of danger or mystery to it, right? Like it could have just said the blue sea, the water. But no, we get wine-dark sea. It all helps to play into that idea of a clandestine journey. And I was having some flashbacks to my other podcast where we're talking about the Count of Monte Cristo, and there's so much sailing and maritime stuff in that book that as soon as they started talking about all these nautical terms like the mast of pine tree and the hull of the cross plank and fastened it with the forestays and hauled up the white sails with twisted ropes of oxhide, like for a second I got lost and thought, oh my god, are we in 19th century France here? No, we are not. We are in ancient Greece talking about the Odyssey. A very different story. And I'll just take a moment, not to comment on any of that, but to comment on my commentary, boy, is this getting meta. Are your eyes rolling yet? What I like about this absurd premise of reading such small snippets of the story every day is that those 2 paragraphs we've read today, if you're reading on your own, you're reading by yourself with a cat in your lap, looking out the window, sipping on a cup of tea or coffee. Like, you can read those 2 things and just take the story for what it is. And that's fine, and that's fun, and that's how you encounter most books. But doing it this way, while disorienting, yes, absurd, absolutely, also allows us to really recognize that important details are embedded in almost every passage of a book that we're so unconscious of while reading it. You know, if you're reading this and you're like me, most of the time your eyes are just kind of skimming or glazing over, and your thoughts start wandering, and you snap back to it and go, "Oh, what's happening here?" You're always stuck on what's happening and what's transpiring and orienting yourself in the story, and you're not, or I'm not, taking in the details of what a wine dark sea means to the story. And yet, sometimes, most of the time, that stuff still subconsciously enters my head, and I'm able to understand what is being expressed, even if I couldn't articulate it to you. So this is a big learning experience for me. We've dealt with this on Monte Cristo for the last year. This is a completely different, it's teaching me different things, but it's still like a weird, interesting way to examine the art of storytelling. Would I recommend to a random person just to read a page out of a book for a year or 4 years? Probably not. But in this particular case where we are commenting upon it and actually pulling it apart and reading it and analyzing it, I find it fascinating and helpful. I hope you do too. And so with that, I will put the cap on book 2 by saying, if you do appreciate this, you can contribute over at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. It is the Patreon for our entire podcast network. It is the Patreon for the entire Gruntwork podcast network, which hosts this show. It hosts the Countdown of Monte Cristo, our other podcasts like Movie Memory Machine, and more to come in the future. You can contribute for as little as $1 a month, and when you sign up, you can choose which show you want to support. So if you only want to support Odyssey, you can do that. You can also go to Patreon and subscribe for free to get access to updates about the network, some free material that we release from time to time. And during our support months, we release some of our paid bonus content to all listeners. So go to patreon.com/gruntworkpod and sign up. I didn't mention this yesterday, but contributing members do get story-only audio of each book as we complete it. So as of today, books 1 and book 2 are available as separate audio files you can download and just listen to the story straight through without my commentary. If you fall behind, I heard that it is a good way to catch up with the story without having to listen to the theme song and my commentary for every single episode. So you can get that over there at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. If you can't, I totally understand. We are nearing the 1 month mark of this show, and this is the critical mass moment where your ratings and reviews are the most essential. If you can go over to Apple Podcasts specifically, leave a rating, leave a review. It doesn't have to be a long review. A 1-word review is fine. It's great. It's fine. Whatever you want to say. I hope it's a 5-star rating. But if you can do that now, it helps to validate the show in the algorithm and make it more viable to be suggested to others in your For You feeds, your recommendations. It's one of the most important ways to get new listeners in this early stage. So you can help the show by going and leaving a rating and review there, Spotify, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment there, and let's get the word out. If you've already done that, then you can also share this show with someone you know specifically. Sending someone the podcast feed, an episode, the YouTube channel, telling them, hey, I think you, yes, you, my friend, would like this show. You are interested in mythology. You're interested in classic literature. You're interested in Christopher Nolan's movie coming out. Maybe you want to check this out. If you recommend something to someone directly, they are much more likely to listen to that episode than they were if they were to stumble upon it while searching for a podcast. So I would deeply appreciate if you have anyone you can do that with. Lastly, you can join us on the Discord. It is free for anyone, not just Patreon subscribers. The link is in the show notes for every single episode. Just click that, get started on Discord, and let me know what you think about this story, what you think about the podcast, and help me shape this thing over the next year. That's all I've got for today and Book 2, but we don't take any days off here on Odyssey, so join me here tomorrow as we dive right into Book 3. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.